Hey everyone, it's Teresa Crane with Jeremiah Dreams. How's everyone doing? I hope you guys have had a good Monday. Oh my, it has been Monday, hasn't it? But it's been a good day. I really can't complain. I just can't. So as you join, please be sure to give StreamYard permission to display your name so we can talk back and forth and just have a great time and say hello so I know you're here. I see some eyes beginning to pop on. So say hey. I know sometimes it takes a minute or two, well, not a minute or two, but a few seconds for what you may type to actually pop on over into where I can see you in the comments. But I'm seeing some eyes join me. So I'm excited to see you all and say hey. Um, but let's see. Nope, no comments yet. So just say hello when you get on here. Y'all, I am ready to go to the next step in our little Dogwood Chapel. Hey, Kathy. How are you, girl? Did you have a good day today? I hope so. I did. It's Monday, but the sun was shining now. The morning started off kind of sketchy because the rain set in, and I typically have a little sinus headache going on. Hi, Miss Paula. How are you doing? It's so good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Um, so I woke up with a sinus headache, and I did some things to take care of that. Like I usually will take a decongestant and some Tylenol and have some caffeine, and that usually takes care of it. But sometimes it takes a little while. And then after the rain kind of moved on out of the area, I was way better. I was way better. So I am ready to get going on this, and I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see where we are. Let me turn this a little bit. Watch my water. I don't want to get water everywhere. But y'all, here's kind of what we did over the weekend. I worked on this roof, and I'm very pleased with how that turned out. So I think tonight I want to work on these windows. I want to put some framework around them. Hey there, Chicky. How are you? I'm so glad you're doing good, Paula. And Kathy had a good day. Everybody's good. I love it when everybody's good. So I'm going to work on some detail around these windows in this door. And I just so that you kind of know my vision for the rest of this little piece. I know we've got some blank spots here where I wasn't really sure where everything was going to be. I'm envisioning, let me see if I can raise this up a little bit. I never know from time to time. And one of these days, I'm going to have a fancy smancy studio. Isn't that a word? Fancy smancy. Um, Thank you, Paula. Y'all, I'm going to get this camera fixed and y'all aren't going to get seasick in the process. One of these days. One of these days. That ought to be a song, shouldn't it? Because when I let it go, it kind of retracts backward. So let's just do it this way, and maybe y'all can see enough to know what we're doing. Okay, we'll give it a try. So I want to work on the framework around these windows because right now they're just kind of flat on there. So I need to give them some, uh, make it look like they're part of something. You know what I mean? And you may be looking at it thinking, I don't know. But wait, I have some ideas. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and get some of my gray out, just good medium toned. It's truly just called gray. I don't know if you can see that. And I think if I get too close to the camera, it gets all blurry and you probably can't see a thing. I'm sorry. But y'all, I'm a little bit late coming on because I've been trying to do something a little bit different. And y'all, all this tech stuff is just a challenge, let's just say. So I got this bright idea. You know how bright ideas go. They're bright till you try them and you're like, what did I do that for? Um, I thought, well, I am going to record a little video to talk about paint and create because let me grab my little palettes here. Because the doors are opening this Thursday. I was looking at the calendar and I thought I need to go ahead and open the doors this weekend um, because I need time to know for sure how many members we're going to have and to order supplies so that I can get those all in the mail by the 1st. So, Hey, Kathy, how are you? I'm glad you're here. So, I decided after looking at the calendar, I'm going to open the doors for Paint and Create this Thursday, and then the doors will close on Sunday. There'll be a short period, and it's really the best way to do it so that I have a good head count for all the things, for all the supplies to be ordered, and then we won't open the doors again for a few months. So, if any of you guys are interested, go I will put a link in this live in the comments. You watched a few seconds, sounded professional, girl. I am trying, I am learning. And it was all me, me and the iPad and iMovie. So thank you for noticing, Kathy. I know that you have an ear for that stuff, so I'm really glad to hear that you think it was okay. Okay, so let me turn this a little bit so I can get to a little easier. And I know it's going to look a little upside down for you guys. I wish I could maybe get it. Let me try. Let me try. Let me try to bring it this direction. Things move, so and I'm not real crazy about. See, it flipped on me. There we go. Um, about this thing that I have for the camera, and one of these days I'll get a better one. But it is what it is for now. Let's see. So y'all just close your eyes. If you get motion sick, just close your eyes, and we'll get her squared away here in a second. Okay, I think I got it. Open your eyes again, and hopefully you're not too sick. You know, just as I think I've got it set, then something changes, and usually me having to change the canvas. So I need to work on this framework around these windows because I really want this to look like they're not just stuck on there, but they're actually a part of the structure is what I'm going for. So I'm just going to, I always get some water on my brush to help thin down the paint. And I'm just going to add some framing to this. And try to be as straight as I can, which can be a trick sometimes. Because sometimes the brush, it just has a mind of its own sometimes. So tell me what's going on with you guys. What have y'all been doing today while we paint and all the things? What's new with y'all? I'm really kind of thinking about if this piece turns out halfway decent, I'm thinking about just taking a stab at entering it in an art show and see what happens. You never know till you try. So I just found out about this little art show over the weekend. And I thought, I have never done anything like that. I'm just going to see. I'll just see what happens. And I know we all have a lot to learn from all the things, but sometimes you've just got to step out on faith. And then I may completely chicken out, get down to it. So we'll just have to see. But it's coming up pretty soon. I think the submissions have to be like in the next couple of weeks, something like that. Well, hey, Miss Janice, how are you tonight? Trying to be very even with my strokes through here. And working around this camera is a trick as well. Get some more water on my brush so this will flow a little better. So my daughter just shared a few minutes ago their maternity pictures from their photo shoot Friday night, and they are so pretty. I cannot believe that in really just a matter of a few weeks, I'm going to have another granddaughter. I'm so excited. Sweet little thing. I'm having to look around this camera, y'all. That's why I'm kind of bent over in this position, because then the light also hits the wet paint and casts a glare. But I don't want y'all to miss anything. I want y'all to be able to see what's happening. So I'm getting this framework on here. And then I'm going to add some shadowing to it. I think I want to make this just a little wider. I get quiet when I'm concentrating, y'all. Trying to make sure my strokes are straight. So, hi, Christine. Kathy says I did all my church work for the week today because KT&T has to sing Sunday morning at Simsonia. Very interesting. Janet says, go for the show. And that detail is really making the window pop. Good. Y'all forgive me. My bifocals is like getting my head in the right position. Thank you, Janet, for that encouragement. I've just never done something like that. And I thought, and a really good friend of mine sent me the information. And I thought, well, you just never know till you try. Sometimes you just got to do it. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to get some black. And it's going to be the first color I'm going to add. Come on. Can I just tell y'all how much I love you guys and appreciate you being here and spending time with me and encouraging me? I just want you to know I don't hear your voices, but you've got a sound, your voice has a certain sound in my mind. And y'all are just such an encouragement to me more than you will ever know. And I just appreciate you spending time with me. Rena says, hello, how are you, my friend? I'm glad to see you. Okay, so I'll show you again. Because this is a real tip, a real secret. So let me get some water over here. So I get some water on my brush and I add it to the paint and I thin it down quite a bit. And that's really important because it helps the paint to flow on the canvas. And so there's quite a bit of excess there. So I just twirl my brush till I get most of the excess off. And it also provides a good point on my brush. And I am just going to go very thin right under this window. See the brush, sometimes just because your heart beats and stuff, it'll get a mind of its own. And that's where you just have to go back and smooth things out. And two, with having it thin on your brush, um, it dries a little faster. I'm not going to go all the way around, but just part of the way over the top of this so it alludes to the angle of things. Y'all, I quit talking when I'm doing something so tedious. I gotta really concentrate. And I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Let me get a little more paint on my brush. And I'm just going about halfway across the top. All right. The next thing I want to do, Rena says, my voice has a southern drawl. Thank you for that tip. I will make that adjustment in my mind for your voice. Okay, I want to pick up some black and add to this gray because I want a little darker shade. I don't want black, but I want darker. See how it's kind of thick right through there? Need just a little more black. Hope y'all can see okay. Okay, so I have a darker gray. Let me get this excess off. I'm going to grab some water. I've got a bead of water on the end of my brush, and I'm going to thin this down. And I'm going to twirl the excess off. Get a good point. And then I'm going to go real thin under this black. I'm going to go right beside the black. Need some more paint. Also gives an opportunity to square things up a little bit if you need to. I'm telling you, sometimes the brush just has a mind of its own. So you just have to make the adjustments. Okay. I'm going to do the same over here. This little chapel, I was thinking about this. We have a famous restaurant around here called Patty's, and they've got a little white chapel on their property, and this reminds me of that little chapel. Okay. Let me see how that looks. I like looking at it in the camera. It kind of gives me a different perspective. So one thing I need to do now, let me clean my brush. I want to get some white. No, you can't see that. Get right here. Get some water on my brush. And I'm going to pull some of this gray over and get a light gray going with mixing it with this white. And I need to add some water to that so it'll be thinned down because I need to add some highlight to the opposite areas that I just put the shadow in. I'm going to go a little bit right up here just to follow that curve. I'll do the same over here. Are y'all holding your breath with me? Because I'm kind of holding my breath. I'm going to add a little bit right up through here. I need some right here in the sill. I'm going to let that sit. I'm going to have to kind of think about that. I'm almost thinking I need just a tiny line right through here. Let me see how I feel about that. Just to offer some definition. Whoops, I bumped the phone. I'm sorry. Really painting in close quarters. Okay. Let's turn this around. Let's see what y'all think. There we go. You feel good about the little line? Christine says, shaking my head, yes, too. Oh, my goodness. Y'all are so funny. Hey, Rhonda. It's so good to see you. I just love y'all. Y'all are amazing. Okay. I'm going to let that marinate. You know me. Okay. So here's the other thing I've been thinking about. Because this is a spring canvas. I really want to put daffodils in here. So I'm feeling daffodils. And you know how daffodils just kind of pop up sporadically in places? That's what I want to put in. So I think, let's see. Let me see. I am feeling a couple of things. So this is Christmas green. This is a Christmas green color, but it's bright and it won't stay that way. You know how I am. Just going to get a tiny bit of that. I need some bright yellow. What is this shade? This is dandelion yellow. It's pretty bright. And I'll be mixing these with other stuff, as you know. All right. Got some excess paint there. I want to get that off before I stick it back in my little tray so we don't have a major mess. Okay. So I'm really feeling these daffodils all along through here. Hi, Miss Ann. It's so good to see you, girl. I just have the best people in this group, y'all. Just love you to pieces. Thinning down my green, twirling off the excess, getting a good tip on here. So I want to put in some daffodils. Y'all, I guess because I've been seeing them popping up in my yard. And I'm just going to start with some of the little greenery that comes with them. And it's just going to be like a line of them. And then the yellow will show up on the side against the siding too. Whoops, there's something on the end of my right there. Got it. I'm just putting in little sprigs. We have a place right up the road, just right up the road where I live. I live on a secondary country road, and this property that's right across from my dad's backyard. It's really pretty wooded lot, and the people who own that lot have just really done a beautiful job maintaining it and just making it so pretty. But anyway, what I was going to say is, when I was growing up, my mother had a bunch of daffodils in the yard, and she would thin them out and just back before these people lived there and it was more wooded, she would just throw the bulbs across the road. Well, I want you to know, years later, all those bulbs had really taken off. And that was just so pretty. It was kind of a little valley kind of thing in those trees. And every spring, all those little daffodils would start peeking out and blooming. And they've done a lot of dozer work in there now, and they're not, you can't see them anymore. But I just loved just seeing those, knowing that my mother had thrown those over there, just trying to thin things out, and look how they just took a life of their own. Hi, Miss Judy. You just hopped on. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're here. All right, I'm going to put in what looks to be, hopefully, some little daffodil blooms. Get a good tip on here. And because this is a lighter color, it's liable to take more than one coat, and it's going to take some shading to make them really look like they should look. And I'll be adding all that in there. And I want to add some variation in here too. I don't want them to all be like in a line. So I'll probably go through and put a row, and then I'll go back and add more, just so that we've got what looks to be like a good bed and not just a row. Probably need one right here. I just love spring. Everything starts blooming. Of course, my allergies don't love spring, but um, visually, it's just such a bright, colorful time of year after having the winter months. And sorry, I need to pull this down just a hair. Oh, Rhonda, thank you so much for painting blessings. Thank you so much, girl. Y'all, so much has changed. I know I keep talking to y'all about this, but I'm in some groups that talk about how to properly tell your friends. And what Rhonda has done right there is the way that we're doing it on this page. So just tell your friends, and you do that, and tell me the way you tell me that you've told your friends is by in the comments say that you painted blessings from and the city and state that you're watching from. And I still plan to send gifts uh, at the end of the month, and I'm working on that. I've, in fact, posed a question in one of my groups this morning asking, how do we do this without violating terms of service or anything with Facebook? So, just having to think of how to do things different, and that's perfectly fine. Things change, but I will probably just be doing random things. I've heard of a app that you can use that helps. I've got to do some investigating on that to see exactly how it works, and then I really, really want to continue to send gifts. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I just want to show you how much I appreciate you. All right. What do y'all think, guys? Is this looking like a bed of daffodils? Okay, I need to go in and add some detail. Let me get these little guys dry real quick. Bear with me. Had a little spot of paint want to pop up. That's where you have to be careful when you're drying these things. If the paint gets too hot, it will want to bubble. So I think it's all good though. Yeah. All right, I'm going to take, let's see, let me start with just this mid-tone gray, just a tiny, tiny bit. And I'm just going to add some little elements of hints of shadow. I'm just going to dot it in there. Just so that this has suggestion of depth. Got a little something on the end of my brush again. Let me thin this down a little bit, and that might help. We're just creating little elements of shadow. Very, very fine details here. But hopefully they're going to convey exactly what I want them to. I'm just dotting it in, not even really doing strokes. Okay. I'm going to get some lighter gray. Let me thin it down. I'm going to go in with some lighter gray and tip just right at the ends. You hear Baxter over here making his little nest. I don't know why he thinks he can scratch that little rug and make it fluffy, but he acts like he is. Bless him. I love flowers. What do you think? Is it looking okay, y'all? What color is my shadow there? Meaning, oh, thank you, Judy, for painting blessings. Are you talking about at the foundation, Kathy? The foundation here, this is just like a foundation line, and that's just the mid gray. And so I plan to go back in with some very dark gray, maybe even some black, and work it in between. Actually, what I need to do is take this same green and add some black to it. Is really how that needs to happen. Let me pick up some black and add it to the green. I'll show you. That's what we need to use for the shadow is a really dark green like this right here. And then I'm just going to work this in between, and I'm just going to dot it in. Because I don't want to totally cover up the stems that I've got there, but it definitely needs that depth. And then I'm probably going to go in with a lighter green and do some highlights. But this dark is going to give it a good foundation. Again, I'm using my small round brush that I love that has a really good fine tip on it. Oh, I couldn't figure out what that noise was. It's socks. My cat. Okay. All right. So now I definitely need to go back and add in some um, that you're tipping in. So I used on the windows, I used the mid-tone gray and then a line of black and then a line of darker gray. There's not a lot of differentiation, but there's some. And then I took a lighter gray that I mixed with my mid-tone gray and white and did that. Then this is black mixed with the Christmas green color that I started with. And now I'm going to take some white and bring it over here, and I'm going to mix some green in there, and I'm going to get a good bright lighter green that I can use to highlight. If usually in most subjects you're going to have three tones. You're going to have mid, dark, and light, and that's going to make a big difference. So I've got this lighter green, and I'm going to just do small tiny strokes. I don't want it to be major, but I want it to do some highlights so that we have that good range of color. And then I may even go back and put some mid-tone green back in. Just to make sure I don't have, oops, I got too much on my brush. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in with this mid green that I started with, and I'm going to just add some of that back in. Kind of takes all of it. Does that answer your question, Kathy? I hope so. I'm toning down this dark green at the bottom a little bit so it's not so dark. I don't want it super dark, but I want it to have a good foundation. Now, here's the other thing I want to do, because when I think about flower beds and stuff, I think about there's some brown in there also. I don't want a super dark brown, but I'm going to use this warm brown. I'm going to add a little bit of that in there. Okay. So let me get, I'll probably need to clean this green off a little bit. I tell you what else I was thinking about doing is having a stone pathway in here. I think that would be pretty. Very naturalistic looking. Okay, so here's this warm brown. And I'm going to dot this in so that it has more of the illusion of dirt and not stroked in or just flat. And that's also going to help this dark green in here pop as well, because it's giving that good contrast. So let me turn this around so you can see a little better. Let's see if I can get it to where in the camera. So there's our bed of daffodils. Maybe a little bit blurry. One of these days I am going to have fancy schmancy equipment. So I just envisioned it just kind of going down the side. And then I envision a lot more. We're far from done. I'm probably going to do a little more on these window frames. I think it's a good start, but it's not where I want it to be yet. So sometimes you just got to start somewhere and then you just have to progress. You got to think about it. Y'all, painting can be very mental. There's a lot of mental work that goes into it. And I might even do a little bit of research and look at some stained glass windows to see what is it that makes that look real. So we're not done. We're not done. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do tonight. I may work on it just a little bit more, but y'all, I'm going to go get something to eat. I haven't eaten yet tonight. That little video I did about paint and create took a while. So, because I thought about, now what do I want to say? And then I had handwritten it out and I started recording myself and I just got tongue tied and it just wasn't going well. So I can't even tell you how many takes I did. And it's just thankfully just me here. Um, and so finally I went to my computer and typed out, what do I want to say? And typed it out. But I felt like if I read my script, that lost authenticity. And if I glanced away, that lost authenticity. So I finally got there. I am me. I'm not an actress, but that was what I was wanting to convey. You get me in Paint and Create, and that's the message I want to send. I'm going to you get me, plain and simple. My tips and tricks. All right, my friends, I'm going to scoot on out of here. I hope you do too, Judy. Oh, I'm so glad. Good night, Miss Rhonda. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and I'll see y'all again tomorrow night, okay? Good night, everybody. Love you too, Christine. Love you too, Chicky. Y'all are wonderful. I just thank the Lord for y'all. Talk to you later. Bye bye.